So basically what I'm trying to say, maybe not as clearly as I should, but the two big drivers of climate chaos, and as a result, our standard of living, is the fossil fuel industry, coal, gas, and oil, and the financial industry. But, it's hard to impact those folks, the Chase Manhattan banks, the Wells Fargo, and banks like that. But it's not so difficult to impact our Washington State Investment Board, where your money is invested. Okay. Right now, the WSIB, they manage about $230 billion. About 185 of it is the commingled funds, and that's where the 18 state pension funds. They say, look, so we don't pick and choose. We own stocks across the board. So I want to ask you this: will returns be lowered if we divest from fossil fuels? Well, actually, no. The returns are likely to be higher over the long term. Fossil fuels, and the reason for that is fossil fuels used to be blue chip stocks. They used to be like GM, Shell, Texaco. They were the best stocks to own, right? The thing is, over the last decade, if you take a look at the Standard & Poor's 500 stock portfolio, right? If you take out the fossil fuels from the S&P 500 and look at the rate of growth of returns, and then compare it to the S&P fossil fuel stocks and their rate of return, the non-fossil fuel group, which is the majority of it, performed 4 times better than the fossil fuels, meaning the returns were 4 times higher than the fossil fuels were. Since 2022, doing the same comparison, the S&P non-fossil fuel stocks almost doubled. They went up 92%. The fossil fuel stocks did go up, but by 17%. So it gets better. The comptroller in New York City, Brad Lander, who is running for Congress right now, when he was comptroller of New York City, which oversees 3 city pension funds, he hired BlackRock and Makita to do a study. He wanted to see if we divest out of fossil fuels, out of our city pension funds, what's going to be the impact? Is our returns going to go down? Is it going to cost us more? So these 2 prestigious, financial broker companies did a study. And what they found, and I'm going to quote, they found no negative financial returns from divesting from fossil fuels. In fact, they said fossil fuels have been underperforming the market for 5 years, and forward-looking analyses show that fossil fuels are exposed to significant regulatory, technological, and market risk.
Question, but this raises that it's not only a matter of the returns to the investment board's investments, but it's the costs associated with mitigation of global change, climate change, that is got to be a part of the mix.
That's right.
In the consideration of, we're going to pay, who's going to pay for that? We will be paying for that. Because we're going to pay for floods and all the rest of it.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And I was talking to Donna, Albert, and Barb just yesterday that, what we really need to do is do our best job of adding up the costs of climate change to the ordinary citizen, and how that translates into higher utility bills, how it translates into higher house insurance bills, how it translates into property values, that kind of thing, loss of wages, loss of jobs, healthcare. We didn't even talk about that, but as it's not just heat stress and all the related ailments that come from that, everything from, breathing emphysema to heart attacks to strokes, so on and so forth. But airborne diseases, right? With hotter climates, mosquitoes and others infectious carrying insects have wider range, right? So healthcare costs are going up tremendously, and and I know, with your union, you have healthcare benefits, right? But also part of negotiated costs into that is all the uninsured costs that get passed on to us So with climate change and climate chaos, healthcare costs are going to go through the roof, even more than they are now. Tim?
I'm old enough to remember when the divestiture in South Africa took apartheid or tobacco because of health issues before the big settlement that Gregoire won. And at the time, some folks said we shouldn't divest. The same arguments there, but we should let the market and society, it will take care of the problem. And apartheid will go away. We'll deal with it then. Tobacco will be a good settlement. Is that? I think what you're saying is we should be out front and not wait for something else to happen for us to invest.
Absolutely. Okay, funny you brought that up. So I took my first arrest outside the South African embassy in New York City, and I was very proud of that. And it was January. It was about 10 degrees, so I couldn't get rested fast enough. But yeah, no. The more we act. I mean, like I said, this pension money, these are deferred wages. This is your money, all right? I mean, I got nothing against BlackRock and Makita. I don't know these people. I don't like the way they're investing a lot of the money. It's your money. Tell the board how you want your money invested, right? It's your right. And our job, and I see my job as pushing people to think hard about the decisions they make. And what I like about the Washington State Investment Board is that, you have all these labor representatives on it, you've got key government officials on it, and you've got some legislators on it. So there's an opportunity there to basically speak truth to power, right? Recognizing that, and this is not a criticism against SIB personnel, because I don't know these people. I knew Joe Deere when he was appointed. And I knew the next director. I can't remember her name anymore. But I don't know these folks. I don't have anything against them. But the fact is, they come out of the financial institution mold, and the financial industry is driving the fossil fuel industry, and is accelerating climate chaos. So whether it's Chase Manhattan Bank, or Wells Fargo or the WSIB, we got to get them all to divest. But let's start with talking about our own money with our own public institution here.
Okay, thanks, Jeff, for coming today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.